Hi, I'm Ray. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about playing in a band. So maybe you're ready now. You've been practicing for quite some time and got a bunch of tunes down, know your chords, and want to get together with some guys and see if you can form a band. Well, that's great. You should definitely do that. So a few things you need to know first or going into joining a band. And that's maybe, first of all, having a meeting with the prospective fellas or gals that you want to join and talk a little bit about philosophy and what kind of music you want to play and what's everybody's favorite stuff, song choices, that sort of thing. Why is that important? Well, because so many bands break up over song choices that, they refuse. I'm not going to play that song. I hate that song. Blah, 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 blah. The thing I'll tell you is this. Being in a band is like trying to be in a good marriage. You have to learn how to compromise. If you're willing to do that, you're going to play lots of stuff you hate, but you got to act like you love it, especially for an audience. You never want to show emotion on stage whatsoever or any kind of unharmonious activities, that sort of thing. Or when you're on stage and you make a mistake, and everybody makes tons of mistakes every time you play, you don't point it out. You just keep going, because 99.9% of the time the audience has no clue you made a mistake. So, don't make it obvious. And those are some of the tips, in terms of trying to get along well, the psychology of playing. And the next thing you'll be wanting to work on, of course, is your stage presence and how happy you look on stage and how engaging you are with the audience and making them part of the fun, because you're there for their enjoyment, not yours, theirs. Especially if you're being paid. You're being paid to entertain. So you need to be an entertainer, whether you're telling jokes or whether you're just pointing at people and saying hi and, welcome and glad you're here. We're going to have some fun, whatever. You'll get better and better and better at it the more you go along. So why do you even want to get into a band? Well, most young guys want to get into a band for one main reason. What do you think that is? Keith Richards said it, and most of us thought it. It's to meet girls. That's why you get into a band when you're young. It's not about the music. It's not about performing. It's not about stage presence. It's not about any of those things. It's about looking really cool so you get noticed. But I'm going to tell you, that kind of goes away. The older you get, there's a whole pile of hassles that come along with meeting girls, when you're playing. But that would be telling, so I'm not going to talk any more about that. But anyway, the longer you play, the more you realize that you want to play for a bunch of reasons, because you enjoy either song arrangements or vocalizations, working on harmonies, just trying to get better. Every time you play, if there's one small degree of getting better and sounding better, you want to do that. Maybe you want to learn how to do sound production as well, so you can learn how to use a board, so you're not at the mercy of unscrupulous sound companies like I was. Recently, actually a couple of years ago, I'll tell you this quick story. My band was hired to play a wedding reception, and it was about 2 hours out of town at a community hall. And so we drove out there, and we had hired a sound engineering company. So we didn't bring anything. We didn't bring any monitors. We didn't bring board. We brought nothing, just, our amps and equipment. So anyway, we get out there mid-afternoon to set up. The guy isn't showing up yet. Wait around for about an hour. I'm starting to get antsy. So I phone the owner of the sound company, and I say, "Where's this guy? He's supposed to be out here." And, I don't know. I'll give him a call. So I don't hear back. So another hour goes by, and we're starting to sweat bullets. This is a big wedding reception. They're expecting the show, lights and sound and the whole bit, right? And, well, guy isn't shown yet, so I call the owner again. He goes, well, I tried to get him, and he's not answering his phone, and I don't know what to do, and I'm kind of busy. I'm doing a thing right now. And like, hey, we're paying you, to come out here, and I don't care how you do it, but you need to be out here and set us up. Well, long and short of it is they didn't show up. They weren't going to show up. And we're thinking, oh my God, what are we going to do? They paid us a lot of money, and, you can't 10 minutes before you're supposed to play go, gee, I'm really sorry, I can't play today because sound guy didn't show up. They won't care. They'll be pretty mad. So anyway, we're scratching our heads, and one of the guys happens to look up above the stage. Like, it's one of these older community halls that has a stage. Above the stage, there's two look like monitors, speakers, on either side of the stage. And we think, hey, could we slave into that and maybe use that for the PA? And you know what? It worked. We managed to rig some mics into it and ran stuff through amps and whatever we had to do. Of course, we had no lights, but still, and we had no monitors, but still, we could kind of hear ourselves bouncing off the back wall. Long and short of us, we pulled it off. And the people that hired us were just absolutely delighted, thought it was the greatest thing. And I was, of course, feeling just guilty as heck because they paid for the show and they didn't get what I thought was their money's worth. And then to make me feel equally bad at the end of the night, the lady gave us a tip, $100 each on top of what they already paid us. Oh, just, there's great people in the world. So the lesson is this. Always bring backup stuff. I hate to say it. Most sound companies are great and sound engineers are great. And you can count on, especially if you've worked with them before, they're trustworthy and dependable. But I always bring extra stuff now, whether it's extra amps, extra PA equipment, board, whatever. You never know. Never know. Something could blow up, right? Never know. So always be prepared. It's the Boy Scout motto. Always be prepared. So anyway, playing in bands. We're back to that. At what age should you be in a band, or could you be in a band, or should consider being in a band? Well, I'm here to tell you, you can be any age. Any age. Young teenagers all the way to geezers like me playing in bands because it's fun. What a great outlet. And sometimes you even get paid, if you can imagine that. I've got a buddy, Steve, who I went to high school with. And my friend Steve was actually a bagpipe musician. And 50 years ago was when I first saw him playing bagpipes. He was great. And recently, a few years back, at the age of 66, he was calling asking me for advice. What kind of guitar should he buy? And I said, really? You're going to learn to play guitar? He goes, yeah, I've always wanted to learn how to play guitar. So my buddy Steve, we were chatting back and forth. He went and got himself a guitar, pretty cool Epiphone guitar. And he was left-handed, so he's on the wrong side of the guitar, but that's a handicap. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so Steve, he's been at it now for just having a ball. In fact, I was talking to him the other day, just bought a couple more guitars. He's got more guitars than I do. So, Steve, do yourself a favor. Don't let your wife watch this video. Anyway, but, Steve can do it at age 66. Anybody can do it anytime. And, don't have visions of grandeur. You're not going to be Pink Floyd. You're just going to do it to have fun and get along with people and enjoy the dynamics of the brotherhood of musicians. Because all of us, we all know what we're dealing with. We're just one big family, and we all want to help each other. So that's why I created this channel. So if you've got some first band experiences you want to share, please put them in the comments below, because I'd like to tell everybody about yours as well. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.